Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode with the Crime and Coffee Couple. My name's Allison.
And my name's Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, Al. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty darn good. PDG, as I like to say.
PDG. Yeah, you have a lot of cool acronyms. Very cool. Like if I'm thinking cool person, I'm thinking Allie.
You're thinking me.
Yeah, that's right. That's,
I'm sorry. I just cut
go
you
ahead.
off.
I'm used to it. Go ahead.
I was talking to our daughter today. She's 13. Our son is 16. And I was like, what is it with teenagers just being basically annoyed with their parents' existence sometimes?
Were you ever annoyed with your parents' existence?
No, not really. And really, our kids aren't. I was just being sassy with her.
Yeah.
They're pretty good about it. Obviously, certain things we do, like we're nerds, but they don't use the word nerds. It's like, I think I was called an unk this week.
Yeah. Well, so the thing with like middle school kids, they have all these stupid words. Sorry if I'm if a middle schooler is listening to this, you should shut this off first and foremost. But yeah, they have all these like stupid skibbity and rizzlers. I think that was like what, 6 months ago?
Yeah, probably that's not with the times now.
Yeah. Now there's something like I was just saying it in the other room. I forgot what it was, but there's always stupid
I was like,
things.
what the heck is an unk? And apparently that's just a not cool person, aka me.
Like an old head, like an old person.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's whatever. Like and then like we were talking about how they feel like they're so cool sounding, while like at the same time they all sound like a bunch of dorks themselves because they have these stupid little words. So it's like, man, you guys are the dorks. Like, not the saying we're cool, but we're both dorks here. Mm-hmm. So like, let's stop pretending right now. I just want to say thanks everybody for listening here. If you love what we do, and like by the end of this, and you're like, "Wow, I wish I could listen to some more episodes." Well, I've got good news for you. We've got a whole mess of Patreon episodes and Apple subscriber episodes, and when I say whole mess, like over 100 episodes. So go check us out. We'd love to have you over there.
Absolutely. And if you're new to us, welcome. We are a husband and wife. Been married for almost 23 years this year. Yeah. And I tell Mike a story, and he's never heard it before, and he reacts to listening to it.
Yeah, and the good thing is I pretty much forget about it like a week later. So
no joke, and he's not even exaggerating. I could come to him, let's say we record on a Saturday, and I come to him on Wednesday, and I say, oh, the case of blah, 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 and he's like, what? And I'm like, Mike, we just did this a few days ago.
Like, say the name, and it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But you got to give me a little bit more detail, like, oh, by the river, and this happened. I'm like, oh, yeah. That sounds good. I think it's just me being like safe for myself.
That is a beautiful looking espresso / little coffee you've got there.
If you're watching on our YouTube, I've got a little cup here. I wanted to have like a clear glass because I wanted to make sure to be able to. See, there it is.
Oh, yes, that's a fingernail on a glass, all right.
Well, you can hear, for the people not watching on the video, you can picture what I'm holding here. But I wanted to have a glass so I could see my new espresso come through on the glass. And then I had a little microfoam on top. This is somewhere between a cortado and a flat white. So a flat white's like 2-to-1 espresso to like milk, and a cortado is like 1-to-1 espresso and milk. So.
It looks beautiful. Well, we've been living at our son's baseball games because he's in the tournament, and so we were up late last night, and then back at the fields early this morning. And it's Florida, so it's already hot, despite the fact it's only May. And so it just really sucks the life out of you. So I'm like, all right, ready to record. He's like, I'm going to go do a 10-minute, what do you call it?
Non-sleep deep rest.
Non-sleep deep rest.
I'm a huge Huberman Labs guy, so it's a podcast. It's by this
Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, thank you. So this scientist or professor of neurobiology in Stanford, Andrew Huberman. He's got one of the top 5 biggest podcasts out there now, but he just comes up with these good things in life generally. And I don't follow him by the Bible, but he's got some good ideas. And one of the things he does is this non-sleep deep rest. And it's been shown to give you, as much energy as taking a nap. So if you want to take a nap, sometimes that takes 20, 30, 45 minutes and you feel a little groggy. Whereas this, you just do it. It's basically meditating for 10 minutes. So just go to YouTube, type in NDSR or just NSDR, non-sleep deep rest.
NSDR.
Yeah, and it's by Andrew Huberman. It's one of the first things that pops up, and I feel actually fantastic. I needed to have a nap before this, but
yeah, I am not a nap person at all. When we used to imbibe in alcohol and I was maybe hungover or something, maybe then I could fall asleep. But somebody's like, I'm oh, I'm so exhausted. They're like, oh, take a nap. I'm like, that's never going to happen. I would just go in a room, even if I'm wiped out, exhausted, and I would just lay there.
Yeah,
just a corpse.
I will say those were some good times when you used to be able to do that. When you were hungover, I just knew that we were just off for the day. It wasn't got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. But at the same time, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast if that was the case.
True. We are way more productive now that alcohol is no longer in the picture because you're not sitting there drinking and you're not recovering from it.
And I'm at the liquor store being like, which wine do we get? Which beer do we get?
Although it did pop into my mind that we need vodka because you and our daughter are making a vodka sauce.
Yeah.
So we need
some.
to get some vodka.
Probably the cheapest stuff. I look at the bottom shelf.
The bottom shelf.
And anything in a plastic bottle will be just fine for us. Something pop off or something like that. I don't
Nothing
know.
but the best for us.
Yeah, whatever the latest like German or Russian sounding vodka is.
Yeah.
And speaking of Russians, really quick story. I had our son's Little League game today, tournament game. And I bought some like Russian sunflower seeds at this local Russian store. It's like
just so random.
Yeah, I went to go get some chlorine for the pool, and it was this like Russian Eastern European store. And I walked in there, and there's this like whole section of sunflower seeds. Who knew that the Eastern Europe is like really into sunflower seeds? They're a little different than ours. They're like made for sunflower oil, so they're like black, the outside shells, but they're really good. They're really small and like really tasty. So I told all the kids, I'm like, guys, I got some Russian like secret ingredients here, and I'm like, don't tell anybody that I got this. Okay, this is all going to help you guys hit and like concentrate during the game. They're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, they're just sunflower seeds, but just pretend they're good. So you guys
ended up winning. So
Absolutely.
Maybe it was a sunflower seeds. Now you definitely have to bring it to the next game.
Yep.
So on that note, are you ready to dive into this?
I am.
All right. So this is a story of serial killer William Sapp, and this is a listener suggestion from Jessica. So today we're stepping back to 1996, and we're entering the town of Springfield, Ohio. This is a city that's situated in the southwestern portion of the state, about 45 miles or 72 kilometers west of Columbus. So we'll be diving into the chilling case of serial killer William Sapp, whose brutal crimes specifically against women and young girls in the early 1990s left a community utterly terrified because the violence behind this guy is disgusting and sick and twisted. So as investigators began talking to this man in 1996, they quickly saw that William Sapp was like an onion because each layer that was pulled away was darker and more disturbing than the one that came before. So what started as an investigation and a trial for a violent assault and attempted rape that happened in February of 1996, this just opened the floodgates to multiple murder cases, some unsolved, one of which involved two young girls that were at the tender age of 11 and 12 years old.
Disgusting.
So this does involve talk of what happens to these 11 and 12-year-old girls. So if this is something that is sensitive to you, we also will be talking about sexual assault, and we understand if you need to skip this one. So it was a signature element that Sapp used during multiple attacks, and this was the careful severing of the seams of a victim's pants using a knife that connected one case to other unsolved crimes. And it kind of reminded me, and I know this is kind of weird, but I thought back to Home Alone with the wet bandits. And
Right.
because they made that their signature move, the police were able to connect them to other crimes.
Yep.
So it all began on Monday, February 5th, 1996, when a Springfield, Ohio woman named Una Timmons, she was walking down the side of the road and a car pulled over. The driver of the car, he seemed friendly enough. He just so happened to be a then 33-year-old William Sapp. And he said, hey, you want to hop in? I'll give you a ride. So she climbed in, they drove maybe a little, and then they ended up smoking crack cocaine together.
That's something I like to do every once in a while, just smoke some crack
You get that
cocaine.
hankering.
Yeah.
So Una was shocked and stunned and taken aback and not at all prepared when this man, who had literally just been a stranger to her minutes earlier, suddenly attacked her. And thankfully, she somehow managed to fight him off and she escaped. And she was able to go to the police to report this attack. So with this, an investigation began and Sapp was arrested a little over 3 weeks later on February 27th. So now we're moving into September. It was September 9th, 1996, and this is when the trial was happening for Una Timmons' case. And he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. And while he was awaiting the conclusion of his trial, investigators from Florida started to get involved with him. They were questioning him as Sapp reportedly confessed to killing a Jacksonville woman 15 years earlier during a decade that he happened to be living in Florida. This was between 1981 and 1991. So in Una's case, Sapp was found not guilty of attempted murder, but he was convicted of assault and attempted rape. Now, I will tell you that this man is vicious. He is brutal. And if she had not escaped that car, she would have undoubtedly been murdered. So how he was not found guilty of attempted murder, I don't know. But he received a sentence of 15 to 55 years. It's pretty broad.
Yeah.
So after his sentencing, he agreed to be interviewed by detectives from the Duval County Sheriff's Department, which is within the Jacksonville area. So the interview was held on September 26, 1996, and he's sitting there speaking with Detective Robert Hinson from Jacksonville. And Sapp is starting to now confess to an entirely different case. So he told this officer from Florida that he sexually assaulted and attempted to murder a woman in Springfield. So he's talking about something that happened in Ohio in 1993. This was 3 years earlier. So Detective Hinson quickly left the room because it's out of his state, out of his jurisdiction, etc. So he returned with an investigator from the Springfield PD who was familiar with the case in question that he was referring to. So with this, Sapp provided details that matched the unsolved sexual assault and attempted murder of Hazel Pearson, and this happened in December of 1993. So up until that point, this was unsolved. So local detectives were aware of a signature element from the attack against Hazel Pearson, where the rapist took the time to carefully sever the seams of the victim's jeans with a knife rather than just, removing them. So this same signature element also matched the evidence from a double rape and murder case of the one I was referring to of two young girls. This is 11-year-old Martha Leach and 12-year-old Free Morrow. And this happened near downtown Springfield in 1992. Now, people were convicted of this, but it was not William Sapp that was included in the group. So with this, detectives obtained samples of Sapp's blood, saliva, and hair for DNA testing. And lo and behold, just as they suspected, they were a match to semen that was recovered from the bodies of both girls.
Oh, so gross. And this signature element you talk about, so it's instead of just ripping up the jeans or whatever, he just carefully just unhemmed them or whatever.
Right. He basically cut the seams
all the way up.
All the way up.
That takes a long time.
Right.
Seems.
And in the case I'm referring to with the young girls, they were actually wearing shorts, but regardless, it was the same technique.
I wonder if he's a tailor or something. That's just odd.
Very odd.
I mean, the whole thing sucks, but that's a really weird thing to have.
It is. So on April 2nd, 1997, Sapp agreed to be transferred from the state prison where he was incarcerated to the Springfield Police Department for additional questioning in regards to Martha and Free's murders. So he initially denied having any involvement in the case, but once he was presented with the solid DNA evidence, he ultimately confessed to not only playing the lead role in the young girls' murders, but also for being responsible for the 1993 murder of an adult woman, another entirely different case. This is Belinda Anderson, and her remains were not found for 2 years because he buried them inside a neighbor's garage.
Man, can you imagine being one of these cops and being in this interview room, and then it's like, okay, let's talk about this murder. And he's talking about a different murder or a different assault case, and then another murder and another murder. It's like, we've got an absolute monster in our hands.
This all of a sudden now they're dealing with a serial killer and a serial rapist. So stepping back to Saturday, August 22nd, 1992, 11-year-old Martha Leach lived right around the corner from her close friend. This is 12-year-old Free Morrow. This is in Springfield, and the girls decided to head to Schuler's Bakery. And I mean, what an innocent act. It's summertime. They want to just go and get some sweets. Yeah. So just about the same time, two of Sapp's friends, this is David Marzewski and his stepson, 22-year-old John Balzer, were seen near the bakery. So witnesses later told investigators that Martha entered the bakery with an unidentified male. She selected cookies and donuts. The man paid for her order and they left together. So in the meantime, David's wife, this is Wanda, she was home with their 14-year-old nephew, Ralph DePriest. So John Balzer, this is Wanda's son and David's stepson, came into the house and told her that he was in some trouble. And keep in mind, he's 22 years old, so he's not a child. So with this, 14-year-old Ralph and Wanda went outside. They climbed into a van with David as well as another man, Christopher Bibbs, and they drove down to a nearby pond that was situated right behind Schuler's Bakery where Free and Martha had gone that afternoon. So when they got closer to the pond, they saw that a 30-year-old William Sapp was kneeling beside two young girls who were unconscious and lying on the ground. Ralph later described their appearance as all messed up. Now, keep in mind, Ralph is only 14 years old. So he watched as Sapp, David Marzuski, John Balzer, and another man, Jamie Turner, they were rubbing the girls' genitals.
Oh, that's so sad.
So Sapp then forced the 14-year-old Ralph to participate. And after this went on for some time, it was Wanda who demanded that they kill the girls.
Jeez.
This woman, this random woman. I mean, it's unbelievable. As a mother herself, how do you wrap your head around that?
It's so disgusting. It feels like it's like just part of a horrible movie, you know?
And I'm listing so many names here. How do these people find each other?
All come together and be like, yeah, this is a good idea. We got to kill them.
I know. So with this, David and John picked up rocks and struck the girls in the head. And Ralph watched this. He was watching in horror. And then he saw Sapp raise a rock over his head. And he was horrified. He was unable to watch. And he turned away before he could see Sapp bring it down. So Sapp told Ralph that if he ever told anyone what he had witnessed that day, he would kill him. And of course he would believe him. He's watching him murder two young girls.
Yeah.
So Sapp, Balzer, and Marzuski then moved the young girls' bodies to the pond, from the pond to a nearby hill where Ralph assisted them in concealing their bodies with brush. So the following day, two boys were out and about riding bikes near the pond where they came upon Free and Martha's bodies. They were behind Penn Street near the bakery, and there were branches and leaves covering their bodies, and Free had a rock on her head. Police located a bicycle, a brick, and two pairs of shorts in a nearby storm sewer, known to locals as Lion's Cage. So Free's mother was able to confirm that one of the pairs of shorts that she last saw her daughter wearing belonged to her daughter, and they were able to identify their bodies. Another witness confirmed that the bicycle that was found there matched what was seen with the girls as they were standing by the bakery. So forensic criminalist Timothy Shepard, he noted that the shorts had not been torn from Free's body. Rather, someone had cut the seams with a sharp instrument. Autopsies proved that both young girls had died from blunt force head trauma. Free had been struck in the head at least 6 times, while Martha had been struck 3 times. Both girls suffered fractured skulls by blows with an impact that was equivalent to a free fall from a second-story window onto a concrete surface. They both had bruising to their legs and their torsos, and sperm was located on swabs taken from their vaginas. And obviously we know that years later, this ends up tying back to William Sapp. So David and Wanda Marzuski, John Balzer, Jamie Turner, and Christopher Bibbs, they were all convicted of the murders of Free and Martha. And what shocks me is that they went down and they didn't pull William Sapp with them.
Yeah.
Isn't that because he was truly the ringleader of all of this?
Yeah.
So it wasn't obviously until 1996 that Sapp's involvement came to light. It was his description of cutting the shorts during his assault on Hazel Pearson when detectives from Springfield realized that it matched the way in which Free's shorts had also been cut. So after DNA confirmed Sapp's involvement in the murders of Martha and Free, he was brought in for questioning in April of 1997, and he fully confessed. He said that he was out with Marzuski, Balzer, Turner, and Bibbs that day, and the 5 of them ended up at the pond that was just behind the bakery. And he claimed that at the time they arrived, the 2 young girls were already there. And after the girls called Turner and Balzer disparaging names, he retaliated by punching Free in the head. And the odds of these 11 and 12-year-old girls calling adult men disparaging names, I don't buy it for a second.
I don't care what they did. They don't deserve to be punched and murdered.
Absolutely.
I mean, they could have done horrible, horrible things to them. It's still like nothing close.
I mean, how disgusting can you possibly be that you target an 11 and 12-year-old girls? Like, cowards. A group of men.
Just a couple girls going out to get some cookies and cakes and stuff. Just innocent little girls. Like so horribly sad.
So he then cut the shorts from her body with a buck knife in an act that he later indicated was a way to leave his name. So Sapp said that he forced Free to roll over onto her stomach and ordered Martha to lie down on top of her. Sapp said then he then raped Martha, and then he and the others took turns striking Free in the head with rocks. And after they all took their turn, he heard a gurgling sound coming from Free, so he lifted a large rock over his head. He told investigators that he threw it down, trying to send it to the other side of the world because she wasn't yet dead. And he elaborated that he used a boulder for the second strike because if it's going to be done, it's going to be done right.
I can't, I give so much credit to these cops that had to listen to these confessions and not, just jump across the table and murder them right there. Because, everybody would be totally fine with that. We'd be better off as a human existence.
Absolutely. So Sapp next struck Martha in the head with a rock, and then he raped Free. It was at this point that he and his friends moved the girls' bodies, they concealed them with leaves, and then moved their bike and clothing to the storm sewer. After his interrogation and confession, Sapp was held at the Clark County Jail, and he was overheard by a deputy sheriff telling another inmate, "I'm going to make national news. I've killed several people, but mostly it's about 2 little girls. But God forgives me for it now because I've been saved."
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
So a little over 1 year after Martha and Free were brutally murdered, it was Wednesday, September 8th, 1993, and Belinda Anderson was staying with her sister. This is Deborah, and she was staying in Springfield. Deborah left her house at 5:20 p.m. Her sister Belinda was there when she left. She went off to visit their parents. And when she came back, not long after, 40 minutes later, it was 6 p.m., her sister was gone, but she had left a note behind. However, she never saw Belinda ever again. And it wasn't until nearly 2 years later when Belinda's body was finally found. She just vanished without a trace, and no one knew what happened to her for almost 2 years. It was July 8th, 1995, when her body was found buried under the dirt floor of a garage in Springfield by the new residents of this home. I mean, can you imagine moving in and going into your garage and being like, wait, what's this?
Yeah, brand new house for you and finding a dead body, so sad and horrifying.
So Mary Williams and Raymond Calkins are the ones that were living in this house and came upon her remains. So at the time that Belinda disappeared, the house and the garage had been vacant for several years. So he knew this and he utilized it. So investigators discovered that her body had been placed in a plastic bag and buried in a shallow grave with her feet sticking out. Hence, it was very easy for these new residents to locate this. So she was wearing a shirt, shoes, and socks, but no pants. So the autopsy determined that Belinda had died as a result of multiple trauma to her head and neck. She had 3 chop wounds and bruising to her face, as well as fractures to some of her facial bones. A blow to the back of her head lacerated her scalp and abraded the outer layer of skull underneath. Her larynx was broken, and each of the injuries she sustained were inflicted before death. So this woman went through utter hell. So because of the state of decomposition, it was unclear if Belinda had been sexually assaulted, but I have no doubt that she had been.
Yeah, good chance.
So during his confession to Springfield police, Sapp indicated that he met Belinda Anderson for the first time that very day that he murdered her. According to Sapp, and I will say this is according to him, he's a disgusting, horrible human being. What comes out of his mouth, you cannot believe.
Yeah.
So he said that she agreed to have sex with him for $40, and she led him to the vacant garage, which they entered through a hole in the back. And he claimed that he had prepaid her, and she began to perform fellatio on him, but she stopped and said that she changed her mind and she wasn't going to do the rest. So he demanded a refund, but Belinda started to leave, so he said he reached down and grabbed her, and she hit him. Sapp said that he grabbed her by the throat and threw her against a wall. He struck her in the head with a piece of pipe, and she dropped to the ground. As he attempted to get up, she threatened to call the police, and he said that he felt as if a fire was lit inside of him. So he picked up a piece of metal and struck her several times, and what he said was because she wouldn't shut up. So he told detectives that he heard her making a gurgling sound and remarked, "How many times you gotta hit a person before they stop trying to get up?" So he denied sexually assaulting her, but said that he was determined to get what he paid for or get a refund. So he said he cut her pants off with his hunting knife, reasoning, "I done bought 'em, so I done took 'em off her." So he said that he fled from the garage only to return a few days later, and it was at this time that he placed a plastic bag over her head and another over her feet and buried her here in this garage. So he bragged to another Clark County inmate, this is Johnny Saxer, about Belinda Anderson's murder. However, in the version he provided to his fellow inmate, he did say that he raped her. So 3 months after he murdered Belinda, it was now December 7th, 1993, and Hazel Pearson and her boyfriend, this is Butch Morgan, they were just out and about. They were at a Springfield bar, and they just incidentally came across his ex-girlfriend. And this did not sit well with Hazel. She got upset, so she left the bar by herself. And the following morning, employees at a nearby packaging company saw her sitting in a nearby parking lot. They didn't realize it at first, but as they looked closer, they saw that she was terribly, terribly injured. So they ran over to attend to her, and they saw that she was nude from the waist down. And when she was asked if she had been raped, she nodded yes. And she was transferred to the hospital. She was bleeding from multiple open injuries to her body. So Hazel's throat had been slashed from ear to ear. It was an unbelievable miracle that she had survived.
Wow.
She had a deep stab wound to her upper abdomen. Her cheekbone, orbital bone, and jaw were all fractured, and her skull was also fractured. And this resulted in serious brain injuries. Her face was swollen. Her body was black and blue. Stones were embedded into her flesh. Just like I was saying with Belinda, this woman went through utter hell. So when Hazel woke up in the hospital, she realized that her watch was missing. And she recalled crawling in the direction of railroad tracks, but everything else from after she left the bar was really just a blank space. So police found her jeans near where she was found in the parking lot, and when they were examined, the police criminalist, this is Timothy Shepard, he was involved with Free and Martha's cases. He examined these pants and determined that Hazel's pants were cut in the exact same way of how Free's shorts had been cut.
Crazy.
So during his September 26, 1996 confession, Sapp indicated that he cut Hazel's throat, he took her watch, and threw the knife that he used onto a church roof. And in 1994, the custodian of a church found this knife. It was stuck in the roof. He said that when he met her, he was intoxicated from alcohol and pills. He noticed her crying on the street corner. So he approached her, and she explained that her boyfriend was in a bar with another woman. So he walked with her until they reached the railroad tracks. And according to his version of events, they began to kiss and mess around a little bit. And she complained that he had stubble on his face and claims that she slapped him.
It's all these like women that came after him. It's like according to him, which is,
and I don't buy it at all.
No way.
So he became so furious that he was determined that she needed to die. So he began to beat her with a piece of steel cable. He was kicking her repeatedly and stabbed her in the stomach. At some point, he removed her pants and had sex with her, yet he had enough guts to tell the investigators that it was consensual.
Right.
After he had just beaten her.
Yeah. That's this guy clearly has a good head on his shoulders. They're very understanding of things.
Just unbelievable. So he later elaborated that he had spent 7 to 12 minutes cutting her jeans off. So when Hazel became still, he moved her to a nearby loading dock and fled. And I have no doubt when he left, he assumed she was either dead or dying.
Well, yeah, especially with cutting her throat like that.
Right. So this is when he threw the knife onto the church roof and he put the steel cable into a storm drain. And it's not only that her throat was cut from ear to ear, he also stabbed her in the abdomen.
Right.
And I mean, it's any wonder how he didn't hit a vital organ or something like that. He also severely beat her. So again, I said he placed this cable into a drain and it wasn't located until 1998. So he remembered exactly where he put it, and this is where investigators found it. So Sapp told investigators, though, it was not him that was responsible for this attack. It was a personality that lived inside of him, and his name was Bob Lancaster. And Bob was the one that was responsible for the attack against Hazel.
Mm-hmm.
So he also told fellow inmate Johnny Saxer that he jumped on a woman near Selma Road because he didn't like her pink outfit. And he went on to beat her with a crowbar, and he believed he killed her. He did not stop attacking her until someone began yelling and he took off running. So he is a vicious, violent monster, and he clearly hates women. So the grand jury returned a 27-count indictment against Sapp, including 3 counts of aggravated murder for the deaths of Free Morrow, Martha Leach, and Belinda Anderson, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder of Hazel Pearson, 4 counts of rape, and 4 counts of kidnapping. William Sapp, just to give you a little background on who this monster is, he was born William Kessler Lilly in Springfield, Ohio in 1962. And after his parents divorced, he and his brother were sent to live at a children's home until their father ended up remarrying. And he later claimed that both his mom and his stepmother sexually and physically abused him. He also claimed that his mother set his youngest brother on fire and blamed him for it. So who knows who's telling the truth? Was he responsible? Was his mom responsible? He also said that his mother watched as his 7-year-old half-brother Charles drowned. So if this is true, you can pity this child who had this happen to him, but it doesn't give him the right to do what he ended up doing as an adult.
Yep.
So at the young age of 10, I mean, that is very young. Children's Services made a record about Sapp indicating that he has a hostility toward all women that he comes in contact with. So you could only imagine if that was determined as young as age 10, how that just festered and grew and built. So in 1980, he was arrested 2 days before he turned 18, and he was charged with animal cruelty. So with this, his mom just wanted to make him someone else's problem, so she purchased him a bus ticket, and this is where he relocated from Ohio down to Jacksonville, Florida, and he lived there, like I said, for a decade between 1981 and 1991. So when he was 19 years old, Sapp was adopted by a homosexual man named Al Sapp, hence where we get the name. So officially in 1981, he legally changed his last name from Lilly to Sapp. On April 14th, 1981, Sapp claims to have murdered a woman named Shirley Ogden on West Main Street in Jacksonville. And then he went on to meet and marry his wife, Karen Sapp, in 1988. And it just boggles my mind that a person like this could find a partner.
Yeah, must have been pretty desperate or whatever. Maybe he was able to act like a normal person for a little while. I mean, I can't believe that he didn't think that she needed to die for spilling the milk or something.
Right. And there's not a lot of detail about what their marriage was like, but they went on to have 3 children together. They also had 1 child from Karen's previous relationship. So by 1991, Sapp was now back up in Ohio, where he started his utter reign of terror the following year. And this is when he murdered Free Morrow and Martha Leach on August 22nd, 1992. 1 year later, he murdered Belinda Anderson. And on September 8th, 1993, that's when he murdered Belinda Anderson. And then only 3 months later is when he raped and tried to murder Hazel Pearson. This happened on December 8th. And 2 months later, a sex worker's body was found in the woods right near his home. And this is where he lived on Canaan Street. So odds are he was responsible for this woman's death, but he has never been convicted for it. So 2 years later, he stabbed and beat Una Timmons. And this is, of course, after he offered her a ride. They smoked crack together. This happened on February 25th, 1996. And this was when he was arrested. He pleaded not guilty. This is where the gates opened and all the connections and confessions began. So his trial began in September of 1996. And again, this is all when the light was shown on the utter darkness and depravity that was this man. So Sapp ended up pleading not guilty to the 27 charges against him. Like I said, these included rape and murder charges. And after he was interviewed by a psychologist, he was deemed competent to stand trial, but the doctor indicated that he had been the most difficult patient she had interviewed in 17 years. He was ultimately diagnosed with bipolar disorder, antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and in addition to his alter ego, Bob Lancaster, he may have had as many as 35 aliases.
Wow.
Yeah. So the trial began on September 13th, 1999, and on October 8th, what can you imagine he was found?
Pretty guilty.
He was found guilty on all 27 charges.
Wow, that's a lot.
So on October 21st, 1999, he was given 3 death sentences with an execution date that was set for September 1st, 2000. So in 2017, Free Morrow's sister spoke about how she would visit her sister in the Springfield Children's Memorial. This is a park that honors her sister. She spoke about the fact that, yes, Sapp is in prison, but he still is living. And this is more than her sister had a chance to do. Her life was snuffed out far too soon. And the debates over the humanity of execution methods that were going on, there was like a lot of scuttlebutt about that. She said that this is very frustrating to her. This is Holly Massey. She said she fully believes that this man deserves to die, saying, "What he did to my sister is more inhumane than he will ever get."
Yeah, I mean, people that have the opinion of the death penalty is too barbaric, you're totally within your right to have that opinion. I just feel the exact opposite, and I think this guy should die like a horribly painful death, and I think a lot of people would agree.
Right, and I always say, I know we talk about the humanity of putting people to death, but I just think about what he did to the women he did these things to. I think of him raising that rock onto an 11-year-old girl's head, a 12-year-old girl's head. And I think we're worried about this guy's comfort.
Yeah,
I see both sides.
It's humanity. I get it. But like, as the self-appointed commissioner of death, this guy would be killed by a million needles to the eye
death
or
by
whatever.
1,000 cuts.
Yeah, whatever.
Maybe trickle some acid on his body.
Absolutely. And just like torture, like just pure torture, like to put him into an experiment, like whatever it takes. Like, I don't know, man. Doesn't deserve anything.
So there are currently more than 100 people on Ohio's death row, many of which are held at the Ross Correctional Institution, Sapp included. He's there.
Still?
So the last execution in Ohio took place on July 18th, 2018. So that's been an
Crazy.
end. So it has since been paused due to the inability to obtain the necessary drugs that are needed to perform these executions. I guess the drug companies don't want their names to be tied to these things.
Hey, that's a good opportunity for somebody out there in the true crime area. That's something we can maybe like start raising some money for. I would love to kill murderers. Wouldn't that be awesome?
As long as I know for sure they're guilty. Like
Right,
this guy, he can rot in hell.
If there's DNA all over, you're a serial
Totally.
killer. Like, I would, again, gladly be that commissioner to be like, yeah, this guy, I'm going to watch him die, and I'm going to like broadcast it for people to watch him die. You're like, watch it if you want.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
that'd be
it's
awesome.
definitely, I could see people thinking that that's like sick and barbaric to think.
It
but
is absolutely sick and disgusting, but this guy did a million times worse.
So to this day, Sapp's execution date remains unscheduled, though if and when it happens, Holly does not plan on being there because she wouldn't want to give him any sense of satisfaction. Because she does. She believes that he would be sickly satisfied. So the only thing that Holly Massey has to remember of her sister, Free Morrow, are photos. She thinks about her sister's smile often and remains haunted by what happened to her. And she hopes that one day she might get some closure. So William Sapp was a predator who roamed the streets of Springfield and whose depravity knew absolutely no bounds. His confessions, all of which came after the attack on Una Timmons, brought long overdue justice, but also revealed, the horrifying depths of his crimes. There are still lingering questions about other unsolved cases, such as the Jacksonville murder of Shirley Ogden, because he has not been convicted of this either. There's also that sex worker's body that was found near his house. He's also not been convicted for that. So thanks to advancements in forensic testing, as well as the bravery and courage of survivors like Una Timmons, and Hazel Pearson, these women helped unmask this monster and bring him to prison where he could never have the chance to do this to another woman or girl again.
Thank God.
And that is a story of serial killer William Sapp.
You know, one part of it sucks because this guy wants to be popular and known, and we are doing a disservice by making his name known.
But we're also talking about the victims that lived on this earth.
Well, those are the most important ones to remember and learn because he took away their lives and something that they deserve to live. And he just was this big guy that came out there and just took them all away from us. And it's so sad.
It is so sad. These were human beings that had lives and futures and could have done whatever they wanted to do. And this guy saw them as nothing, worse than nothing. I mean, you don't treat any living creature like the way he treated human beings.
He came up with a story in his head that they all deserve to die.
And all phrase them around, they struck him first.
Yeah, every story. Oh, this is just so, and even so, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're a scumbag. Why is he still alive? Why don't prisoners kill him immediately? You know,
especially the fact that what he did to an 11 and 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, can't we send like a secret hitman in there? Would anybody at all care if we sent in like an assassin into the prisons and we're like, oh no, this assassin died? You know, like Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, he killed himself, air quotes. It's like, just do that to all these like horrible serial killers. Like, just send a guy in there. I mean, nobody's gonna care. Like, like if his family does, who cares? Like his family, whatever. Like, kill them all. Like, just let them go. Like, don't even put it in the news. Just kind of shuffle it under the rug.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess he slipped and hit his head.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, okay. Next one. Oh no, another guy happened. Oh, another serial killer.
We gotta fix the polish we're using on the floor. It's far too slippery.
Let me look into it. Let me be the one to look into that. Put it on Mike Pernecki here at the Crime and Coffee Couple. I'll look into all those things. Make sure they're fixed someday. Right? Like whatever. It's so ridiculous.
Right at the top of the stairs. It's very slick.
Yeah. Whoops. I'll look into it. I'll get it fixed right away.
Just a disgusting human being, and yeah.
Forget his name. He sucks. So yeah. Well, thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. We're just a little Ma and Pa podcast. I'm Pa.
And I'm Ma.
Yeah, we don't have some huge network or anything. So everybody listening, every time you tell a friend or a coworker or a neighbor about us, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I find out every week there's a new coworker of mine listening to the episode. So that's kind of fun and exciting. They know way more about me than I know about them sometimes. And it's like, hey, they asked me about something I did last week.
They're like, how'd you know about that?
Yeah, I don't know. How'd you know I got a coffee maker? So it's interesting. But thank you all. We really appreciate you. And again, if you want some of those bonus episodes, you deserve it. And in case you don't have the money right now, I got a secret for you. There's a free trial. Okay. There's a free trial. Go sign up, get the free trial for a week and binge a bunch of episodes.
Absolutely. We will welcome you with open arms, and we hope you are having a good week. You're staying safe. If you're watching on YouTube, our dog is crawled up into my lap because it's raining outside.
Poor baby. She doesn't like the rain.
She doesn't like the sound of rain or lightning.
Yeah.
So I got my little baby right here.
Just a little baby. She wants to suckle on her mama.
So thank you guys so much for being here. And until next time, bye.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.